What's going on, everybody? This is Blockchain Bullz, and today we are going to talk about the Bitcoin dip, go over some news. We're going to basically do some price analysis. We're going to look at some fundamentals of some projects. We're going to turn it over to you guys out in the audience as I continue to get more and more comfortable with doing these screen shares. If you guys can see this loud and clear, please let me know. I just want to make sure this is working, so please do crush up the like button if it's working. I'm looking at the data here and it says, okay, it looks like we've got some action going on, so that's really good. All right, so yes, if you're new to Blockchain Bullz, you like live feeds, you like community discussions and groupthink about cryptocurrency, and occasionally some altcoin picks and some altcoin gems, then you'll definitely want to consider subscribing to this channel. Also, if you're new to cryptocurrency, here's an entirely free cryptocurrency training videos right here. All right, let's take a look at the market. So you could see yesterday when we did the live stream, Bitcoin was around 58,000. It dipped down to 56,000. There's actually people who are panicking. They're really concerned, and I'm sitting here thinking, first day investing in crypto. So people really do panic when it goes down like this. And I guess it's understandable, but you could see over the last 24 hours, basically everything is down except for Theta. And then when you get outside of the top 20, you start to see Solana is doing okay. BitTorrent is getting absolutely pounded right now. Tron is getting beat down. But this, again, when you see something getting beat down, that's usually an entry point, because something when it's down 16% like that, it's more than likely in a bull market scenario to rebound and go back up again. So Ian says, thank you for this content. FOMO into the like button. Thank you. Oh, wow, we've got 45 people already diving in here. And here we go. So we're going to keep looking around. We're going to take a look at what Michael Saylor's been tweeting. When we come over here, we take a look at Michael Saylor. Perseverance and spirit have done wonders in all ages. George Washington on Bitcoin. Obviously, George Washington didn't say that because George Washington wasn't around. But when you want to know about what the sentiment about the market is, check Michael Saylor. Check in with Max Kaiser. Check in to see what Mike Novogratz is saying. Check on Pomp. Go to the Winklevoss twins. Check and see what's going on. And that's where you'll get your information on Twitter. You can also follow Blockchain Bullz. We are growing very quickly. So that's really good. All right. So now we're going to talk about some of the news that may help you guys stay bullish. So here's something that came out from Newsweek. Goldman Sachs CEO sees big evolution in Bitcoin and crypto regulations. So whenever these guys talk, you get a little bit concerned, I understand. But let's see what he had to say. So Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon foresees a big evolution in how the U.S. government regulates Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. This could be playing a factor in the prices that we see. So this is on Newsmax. We continue to think about digital currency and the digitization of money in a very proactive way, Solomon said, told CNBC. And in that context, we are engaged with our clients, and we look at all this through the electricity of what the centricity of what our clients need. Major U.S. financial institutions now offer clients exchange-traded funds that track the price of Bitcoin. I'm not going to speculate on where the rules will go for the regulated financial institutions, but we're going to continue to find ways to serve our clients as we move forward. So as you guys go out there and you demand more exposure to Bitcoin and digital assets, you're basically sending a signal to the world, to the regulators, that, hey, this is what we want, because the regulators, they see opportunity, the businessmen see opportunity. So the businessmen see the opportunity, these guys, Goldman Sachs and whatnot, and the regulators try to basically serve the needs of the people, supposedly, right? That's at least what we're told. But basically the problem is there's not enough regulatory framework for these institutions to step in a way that's going to really build out the market in a way that needs to be done, right? So Bitcoin is a highly speculative asset which has conducted some funny business and some interesting and totally reprehensible money laundering activity. So that's not good in terms of getting this set up and moving forward with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. But you could see there is an interest and the big players, the institutions coming in, and they just need more regulatory framework to be able to make that happen, right? And so you could see Mark Cuban, he's made some interesting comments. This was on Forbes. Billionaire Mark Cuban reveals why he thinks Ethereum will dwarf Bitcoin as crypto market price hits $2 trillion. So if we go over here and we take a look at the overall price, you could see right now Bitcoin's still holding over $1 trillion market cap, thanks to the 21 people who hit the like button, by the way. So you can see Bitcoin still has over $1 trillion market cap. Ethereum, basically one fifth of that, right? So if Ethereum hits the same price, you can expect around about a $10,000 Ethereum. So do you think that Ethereum will 5x from here, or do you think that Bitcoin 5x's from here? Will Bitcoin go to a $5 trillion market cap, giving it around about a $250,000 price, or will Ethereum go to $10,000 per coin? That's the question that you as an investor may want to know when you get into talking about that. But obviously, Mark Cuban thinks that Ethereum is going there. Now, I always take it to the next level and I say, well, if Ethereum is going to move like that, Polkadot and Cardano are going to move also. So I would take it beyond that. I don't know how much experience Mark Cuban has in the markets, but I would say, well, why doesn't he just really say what he really means or should mean is that Cardano and Polkadot will be better investments. Maybe Ethereum catches up to Bitcoin, but Ethereum will not have the same price action that Cardano or Polkadot will have. What do you guys think? I mean, it seems like Cardano and Polkadot in that setting where Ethereum moves like that are going to be the biggest gainers, more than likely. So that's just my opinion, not professional financial advice. I'm just thinking to myself and scratching my head and saying, wouldn't that happen? Okay, so anyway, so the next thing you have is some other interesting news. Sacramento Kings offer to pay team employees, players included in Bitcoin. So shout out to the Sacramento Kings. Time to go get a old C Webb jersey, or what are you guys going to do about that? You guys going to get a Jason Williams jersey? Or, I mean, who's playing for do the Kings even have any legit stars right now? I think they have one, don't they? But they're going to be offering to pay players basically in Bitcoin, which to me would be like an investment in their future, not so much in blowing their money. Because, you know, pro athletes, especially when they're young, the first thing they want to do is get the money and then blow it, right? So if they're taking their salary in Bitcoin and they're holding it, that might be in their best interest, I would say, considering where the digital asset and cryptocurrency is headed. It looks like where it's headed here moving forward. One of the things that I'm really trying to keep an eye on, and maybe some of you guys can help me keep an eye on this, is how many people are actually taking their stimulus money and putting it into digital assets? How many people are actually taking their money and putting it into cryptocurrency? How many of them are buying Bitcoin? And what are they using their stimulus on? So nearly 10% of the $380 billion in stimulus checks may be used to buy Bitcoin and stocks, survey says. Well, that was on March 15th. Here we are, April 7th. Do we have any data on that? I still haven't received my stimulus check. I may not ever get it. I have no idea why. I got the very first one and I haven't got one since. So I don't know if I'm in a lag or what's going on, but we'll see. Then you have some interesting news. Nearly $40 billion in U.S. stimulus checks may be spent on Bitcoin and stocks, but this was written on March 15th, and then you had Bloomberg talking about this very subject. In Bullish Report, Bloomberg predicts 400,000 Bitcoin price in 2021. So Bloomberg taking a step out on a limb here, and they're saying a $400,000 Bitcoin in 2021. What do you guys think of that? Thanks to the 30 people who hit the like button. That's a lot of engagement, so that's pretty good. Yeah, the newcomers definitely are in panic because when the price goes down with anything, I mean, that's why you have to have more of a long-term perspective, and you always have to buy dips. So if you're doing that, if you're buying dips, you'll be a lot better off. Indicators point to rising Bitcoin to gold ratio. People also are talking about the stock to flow ratio being in Bitcoin's favor. So digital versus analog, I mean, we can get into that whole conversation. That's a conversation that just keeps on going, digital versus analog, when it comes to gold versus Bitcoin. And then few signs of Bitcoin holders looking to sell. So yes, retail investors are the most prone to sell. they will sell. That's you and I. We're more prone to sell than institutions. When an institution takes out an investment, they're playing with money that they're not living paycheck to paycheck. So when things get hairy, they don't panic. Okay, when they sell, it's because they're legitimately taking profits, but they don't do it based on panic or anything like that. That it would have to be a massive crash down for institutions to unload. But that's building a strong foundation. You know, when Tesla and MicroStrategy make that investment, that's a real strong core position for Bitcoin. And we're still waiting for the regulatory framework to roll out, which is going to open the floodgates to other institutions with bigger, deeper pockets like Apple and whatnot to consider making a move into it if they so choose. This was the data that I was going to show you earlier. This is on Bitcoin.com. Harris poll data shows 1 in 10 Americans will use the stimulus check to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that was another outlook that we saw with that. And then the stock to flow ratio on Bitcoin, you guys can see all this, how to analyze the chart. But you can see you guys are going to want to pay attention to this stock to flow as time goes by. We can make a full detail on this, but this is a full detailed review on exactly stock to flow as time goes by. But this model treats Bitcoin as being comparable to commodities such as gold, silver, or platinum. These are known as store of value commodities because they retain value over time, frames due to their relative scarcity. So Bitcoin becoming more scarce over time. There is this conversation that comes up always about Bitcoin's halving, but then there's been some conversation about that's not really a big thing. And then you have to take into account the 4 million lost Bitcoin. I've always looked at that 4 million lost Bitcoin as a problem. People think it's a good thing or they don't really see it as a problem. But I'm always like, well, there's 21 million that'll ever be created, but really it's only going to be 17 million. That's good for scarcity, but is that really good overall long term? And I don't know if I'm so convinced that it is overall good. So Cardano is going slow. Is what someone just said. All right, so we're moving on. Now I take a look at Google Trends. So this is something that you want to check on about once a week, or you could follow this channel and we'll kind of talk about Google Trends. But you can see the trend for Bitcoin alone. So I've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, NFT, DeFi, and Ripple. These are like some of the key phrases. I can interchange any of these, but right now Bitcoin dominates this chart if I remove that. But I just wanted to show you. So the blue one here is the Bitcoin chart. Right now, Bitcoin is definitely not trending. People are not so interested in it. And it's this time of year, April, Bitcoin kind of goes lulling. I mean, we're going to need to break out of this trend where our hot periods for cryptocurrency tend to be, well, it tends to be sometime in the summer, there is a little bit of a surge, and then it cools down heading into late August and then September, and then it picks back up, especially around November and December. We've seen that before. In January, it gets a little bit of resurgence. We saw that this year, and then obviously we had a pretty big February breakout. But it would be nice to see some price action in around May. I would love to see some price action for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in particular. But you could see right now, Bitcoin is not looking so hot on the trends with Google search, which is a viable data source for how interested people are in Bitcoin. So that would explain the low volume, the low interest, even though the stimulus. So this whole thing about this people taking their stimulus and investing, even though they should invest when it was down, what they would have really done was they would have chased it. They chase Bitcoin when it goes up. But that's when they try to buy. They don't try to buy low. They always want to buy it high. I mean, that's even people in my family. They only want to buy when it's going up. That's the only time they want to buy. When it's down in the dumpster, they're not like, hey, so should I buy? They're usually like, hey man, it's going up. Should I buy? And I'm like, oh, you again? You just want to buy high, don't you? You just only want to buy when things are up. You don't want to buy anything on sale, and that's just how people are. Even people in my own family. It's funny. But let me remove Bitcoin so we can dial in some other charts here. So what's really popular, right? Okay, so you can see NFT took off. The NFTs took off. They're cooling down though. And if I was to go into one more, maybe we could go into yield farming and see if that's got some sort of attraction. But you can also see Ethereum. Actually, Ethereum is looking pretty good. That one's looking pretty good. And then the one that's really low, yield farming, is still not very popular. So I'll remove that. we could play around with this a little bit and just get some good data on it. But you could see Ripple, surprisingly, isn't doing too good. And if we type in XRP in terms of retail and interest, so that would tell me that there's not really a retail demand for price action in XRP or Ripple. I wonder where that injection of cash into XRP and Ripple came from. I'm not exactly sure. There was no real fundamental reason why XRP and Ripple went up, but you could see it's not the retail demand. DeFi is still not really, I mean, DeFi is kind of popular, but it's not doing anything too impressive. And then if we just put Cardano in here, and we just pop Cardano into this, just to see how that one's shaping up. So that's the purple. It's had its peaks, but it's cooled down also. XRP, like I said, we can remove that because it's really proving not to be anything of interest. I can plug in anything on that. Yield farming is interesting. I haven't really done too much of it. LCOS says, XRP made an announcement about some partnership with a Chinese company about a week and a half ago or something. Yeah, that could be playing a factor. I mean, it also, I would check the Telegram groups. I would check the Reddit groups to see if there's some sort of interest going on there that's driving the price. But I'm not too sure what exactly would be what exactly would be driving that. I'd have to look into the CME gap to see exactly what the deal is with that. Let me take a look here. CME gap. Oh gosh, of course, we're live and we got this going on. They're not going to let me off the hook on that, so we'll have to look into that in a little bit. That could be a factor playing. That could be playing a factor here, but this website's not going to let me look around without that. Anyone else holding Essentia and Ultra? You think some of these and Swarm are going to do good this year in a strong market? When altcoin season, if I'm also a believer that we're also in a bubble. So I don't really hear too many people talking about that. I hear a lot of conversation about alt season, but I mean, these valuations on these cryptocurrencies are pretty high, especially some of these altcoins. And I think I mean, you look at it like it's the .com bubble all over again. So a lot of these projects, whether you like to admit it or not, they're not going to be around forever. They're not going to last. They're not going to last forever. I mean, it's thanks to everyone who hit the like button. 44 people hit the likes. We were doing really good there in the beginning, and now we're down. We're up to 170 concurrent viewers, but we've only got 45 likes. So please, guys, hit that like button and help get this video out to a larger audience as we continue this conversation. Do you guys? What time of day do you guys like me to go live? I'm very interested in hearing on that. NFT projects are popping like shrooms. Yeah, they really are, and they kind of have that like magical, like weird Nintendo game kind of vibe, don't they? Thank you, Soul Food. People think bear market is here. Why would you say that? I mean, what are you trying to FUD? I mean, these guys who come in here, it's like they troll. It's like, what are you trying to say? You really think the bear market is here? I mean, what fundamental reason would give you to believe that the bear market is here? I'm curious. I mean, why? I could understand. I could understand that the market needs to cool down a little bit. But do I believe we're in a bubble? Yes. But do I think the question about the bubble is how far will that bubble expand? Okay, I think the entire U.S. economy is in a bubble. I think the housing market is in a bubble. Nothing lasts forever. What goes up must come down at some point and correct itself. It's just the way the market cycles operate. And people are always like, well, we're in a new paradigm. We're in a new paradigm. Things have changed. Things have changed. But they really haven't. and until we see something just absolutely, some anomaly situation that totally changes the rules, absolutely, I'm saying no. But NFTs are cooling down. The only one that really looks stable here is Ethereum, which would explain because they did break an all-time high. So I could keep going, guys, or we can finish here. If you guys want me to keep going, hit the likes, and I'll keep going. If you guys want me to finish here, don't don't do anything, and we'll call it a day. And we'll see you guys on the next one. But if you guys crush up the likes beyond 100, I will keep going. So as of right now, we'll just go take a look at the market while we wait to see if you guys smash up the likes to over 100. So we're looking at the market as of right now. This is real-time tracking, and we just dipped below 56. People are definitely going to panic as that continues to sell off. It's crazy because you got all these TA guys talking all this stuff, but the only thing that's going to really drive this is fundamentals. Fundamentals drive this market more than anything. So it's the reason. Yeah, it's just wild. Binance Coin, what a juggernaut that thing is, man. That thing is just exceeded all my expectations. I mean, it ran flat below 40 forever. Yeah, I mean, you could have scooped up Binance Coin 3 or 4 months ago for under $40 really easy, and it went to 368. It's actually a boring coin to hold. It was a boring coin to hold, but lately, no, you could have definitely made some serious cash, some serious fiat value or Bitcoin value if you stored it in Bitcoin. I'm looking at this and I'm trying to dial in what it is that we have going on in terms of assessments, and I would say, oh man, I'm really trying to see where the best buys are and understand it. But when I take a look here, I mean, Litecoin is an absolutely, I know people are not going to be happy with me. I see Litecoin as just basically pointless at this point. I still hold, a few Litecoin, and I've held them for a couple years, but it's basically, there's no real point in Litecoin at this point. And people love it and they're fanboys of it and this and that, but I don't really see a point in it. There could be a massive surge coming for Chainlink. We've heard about that a couple times. Bitcoin Cash, the only thing that Bitcoin Cash has going for it is the Bitcoin brand name. The Bitcoin brand name, they say it's fast, but the tokenomics behind it are just not really there. And really, most people don't really hold Bitcoin Cash. XLM, I still think XLM is a sleeping giant, and people don't agree with me on that, but XLM just seems like a sleeping giant, absolutely. People don't like Jed McCaleb. I don't have a problem one way or another with that guy. I think he's done a lot for the space. So, but I just don't understand what the obsession is with Litecoin. It's not like it's going to be used as a currency, and I could be way wrong. I mean, PayPal listed it. It's always been one of the top coins to get put on Gemini. It's always been one of the top coins to be put onto Coinbase. But it just is such a boring coin to hold. I mean, people have been waiting on Litecoin to have a breakout. I mean, but compare it against Binance Coin, and Binance Coin has just left it in the dust. I mean, and it does way more. Like, what is Litecoin doing that? I mean, they got the Lightning Network. What do they do that's so interesting? I mean, I guess they partnered with Flare, which could be something to speak about. Oh, you lost $600 in lumens because you forgot the memo field. That's another thing that I don't really like about sending XRP or XLM, or even what we saw. I think Cardano also requires a memo field, right? That secondary, it's like, so Bitcoin, you send Litecoin, great. One address, that's it. You don't need a memo field. And some of these coins, they have these memo fields that are required. And I guess maybe that is what's used to make it faster, but like he just said, he forgot to put that in there and he lost $600 in lumens. That's horrible. What I'm saying is that's horrible that happened to you, because that's a gut-wrenching moment to lose $600. Like, I don't know how much you make a day at work, but that's like two or 3 days of work that you just lost right down the drain, assuming you make $300 a day doing your day job, which is pretty good. People are asking about the crash. So is this a crash? This is not a crash. Anyone who thinks this is a crash has never experienced a crash or a sell-off. A sell-off or a crash would be where Bitcoin dips below 40,000. That would be a cause for concern. But here's a bright note to this whole thing. If and when the bull market kicks in, okay, again, re-triggers, it picks back up again. We'll look at just the year, okay? This area around 50 to 60,000 is going to be an excellent support level. And the bottom of that would be around about 52,000. So there's no doubt about it that if you get some regulatory clarity, if the green light becomes open for Apple to jump in and some of these other institutions, banks and whatnot, opening it up to their clients, this level right here is there. This is going to be a level. We had a level like this. I mean, I guess you could say we haven't had a level like this build since the $19,000 mark. That's like our strongest support going down. If it was to ever go down, like the lowest I would say we would probably get in a worst case scenario would be 19,000. Now, to those of you who bought this area right here, you would panic. You'd be panicking because you wouldn't be a very happy camper. But this area right here, in my opinion, is the strongest support line just in general. But what we're forming right here around the $50,000 to $60,000 mark has been a pretty nice, and you could even see it's more than just right now. It's been going on since basically this time in March. So I would say that when the market takes back off, this should be a support level. This $50,000 to $60,000. This $50,000 to $60,000. This is not a crash, guys. You guys keep calling it a crash. Who told you guys this was a crash? This is a correction of markets. We're still over $1 trillion market cap. Bitcoin has not been over $1 trillion market cap for very long. You would know if this was a crash. Being down 4.3% is not a crash. Whoever told you that is giving you misinformation. I would not even call this a crash until maybe a dip below 50, and that would be a hard sell-off. But like I said, below $40,000 would be a hard crash. This is only like 1 or 2 days. This isn't like a prolonged bearish signal. There's nothing bearish. There's no bearish signal about this. Not professional financial advice, but I don't see anything bearish about this at all. Does anyone in the audience see anything bearish about this? I mean, even if you look at the chart, I mean, just Monday we were at 59,000. So you could say we're in a little bit of a sell-off since Monday. Here it is, Wednesday. But no, I would not call this, and I'm not trying to be mean about it. I'm not trying to say. I personally don't feel like this is a crash. I mean, being down 4%, why would that be a crash? So I would not call this a crash by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know. Are you guys all new here? It sounds like we got a lot of newbies on here. It's okay. What do you think about Haven Protocol? I'm not going to get into low cap coins right now. Now is not a time to talk about low cap coins. It's more of a time to talk about the overall market sentiment. And so that's what I wanted to do on this live stream. Thanks to the people who smashed up the like button. I'll keep going if you guys push me over on that, or we'll just kind of call it a day. And I might do a live stream tonight if I have enough demand, but no, I would not call this a crash. People say, do you think Polkadot will pump this, or what's the best altcoin, and is this alt season right now? There you go. See, we just went over 56,000. We just went below 56, then we recovered. So this would get to a warning level if we went below 50,000, I would say. So anything above that is more or less either a correction or a strong correction. But then if we got to below 40,000, that would be, and it can cascade, because as it sells down, sell orders, short position sells, they get hit. People shorting the market and their sell orders just trigger. So that could happen, and that becomes a cascade down. And so that could cause a quick sell-off. But I would anticipate, considering how much of an investment Michael Saylor's made into Bitcoin, I mean, he's basically a market maker at this point. What percent are you looking for Bitcoin dominance to signal the start of a bull run? Well, Bitcoin always carries the market. Bitcoin carries the market. More retailers come in because of Bitcoin than any other coin. Unless Ethereum were to would supplant it, which we did talk about on this video, where we did say that Mark Cuban believes that Ethereum will dwarf Bitcoin, which could be the case. And that then I take it one step further and I make the case for Polkadot. I say, well, if that's the case, if Ethereum's going to rise like that, I'm really excited for what's going to happen with Polkadot, and so will my portfolio, because right now Ethereum is a larger dollar amount than Polkadot, but obviously if we just look at the market here, if we just look at the market cap, Ethereum 227 billion, right? Polkadot 35 billion. How many times does 35 go into 227? Right? We're not going to say, you could say 35 billion goes into 227 billion, but that's the divisible. All this thing has to do to catch. So I'm going to try and slow down for those of you in the audience who are listening but not exactly understanding what I'm saying. 227 billion goes into 1 trillion 5 times, okay? So you take the divisible, so you say, okay, Ethereum will dwarf Bitcoin according to Mark Cuban. So by that point, you could just say that you just give Ethereum a 5x from here, putting it at $10,000, right? Well, if you look at Polkadot, how many times does 35 go into 227? That would be basically 7 to 8 thereabouts, depending on if you want them to round up or not. So I would say in that situation, the higher upside is with Polkadot long term. And if you look at this, I mean, this is a nice little dip for Polkadot right there for people who are trying to step in and accumulate, I would say. But Cardano also in the same boat. I mean, Cardano is another one of those projects right in the same boat right here. Is Binance Smart Chain in a bubble? Hard to tell. I mean, Ethereum needs a solution to the miner fees for sure. But one of the things I thought about was, what if they were taking all of the miner fees collected that they've had, and some portion of those miner fees at some point will be capital that's invested back into Ethereum for a pump by some sort of market maker for Ethereum. Think about what I just said. What if some of those extreme miner fees that were collected on Uniswap, obviously not all of them because they went to miners, right? But I'm saying, what if some of that money ended up going back into Ethereum as capital injection? How much would be there? Would it be billions? Could it pump the price? I mean, that would be a great investment if all those miners got together and put some of those miner fees back into Ethereum, and what would that do to the price? I've thought about that at some point. So that seems to be something that you could consider. Do you think the alt market is too saturated, 9,000 altcoins? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. The altcoins are a bubble. A lot of these altcoins are a bubble. 95% of them at the very least, will go away and not last the sands of time. It's the dot-com bubble all along. But what I did say, it's how big that dot-com bubble or that this bubble will get. So, that's why at some point it's gonna pop. But you strike while the iron's hot. When the going's good, you're in there, you're holding on, you're riding the wave, and that's what it is. But at some point in time, the bubble's going to pop on the altcoins, and they're going to drain out and they're going to fizzle down. And some are going to rise up and be the next Aave, or some are going to rise up and be the next Chainlink, like we saw in the last cycle. So it's they're letting innovation happen, and then the innovation kind of just dwindles and pops out. So I would expect that for sure. That's just basically what I would have to say. I would say there's a very slim chance. Yeah, there's very small doubt in my mind, okay, that this is a bubble. What I'm saying is this is a bubble, and it's just a matter of how big the bubble is allowed to get. So they're letting the innovation take place before they prick the bubble, and then it pops and it drains out, and they flush out all the, what coins, the junky coins, the coins that are trash. And you can make money on those junk coins because we've seen, look at this. I mean, this is a coin that's not even, this project is dead in the water, and people pumped it. I mean, why is this coin even seeing any sort of price action at all? Going from 2 cents to 9 cents. Substratum. Because people are pumping it. Because we're in a bubble. That's the kind of stuff, that's like an indicator we're in a bubble. When Substratum goes from 2 cents to 9 cents, we're in a bubble. It's just a matter of how long the bubble is going to last. So that I would say that. I mean, these coins that are nothing are doing something. I mean, we could look at so many different coins that are doing that also. So yeah, we're in a bubble. It's just a matter of how far this bubble is going to go. Anyways, guys, thanks to everyone who smashed up the likes. We'll see you guys on the next one. I'm going to go get some lunch.